Well, good morning, everybody. Uh, we have guests today in our live session here from the DAR group. And they brought some brochures for us, but I'm sure you could probably, what's your website?
Featherturnip.org.
Oh, well, I was thinking about
Oh,
the DAR.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good one too.
I have to look it up. Oh, no, I take it back. It's right in here.
Is it a local one?
So
Yeah.
it's DAR.org.
Okay.
And then you can search.
That's at 10:30.
Which Wayne will be going to.
I got it.
What? I wonder who's
talking.
yeah. There's 13 of us here. Let's see.
This won't go bigger.
I don't think it does.
What's that?
I count. All right, well, we probably should get started.
I
So,
you can hardly hear.
during the presentation, it might be a good idea if you guys mute yourselves, and then when we get to the Q&A, you can also put any questions or comments in the chat, and we'll address them after our presentations. So I guess the first thing, we'll just go over the agenda because we have a few announcements here that we'd like to make. The first one is get to where I got here so I can move this up and down. There we go. So this coming Wednesday, Kevin Graffagnino, who was the former director of the Vermont Historical Society and then went on to other directorships in Michigan and Kentucky, has written a number of books on Vermont history, will be here to speak about his newest book, Ira Allen, which is the first biography in something like 100 years. Who he was the brother of Ethan Allen, and quite an interesting fellow. Any rate, Kevin will be here on Wednesday the 24th at 7 p.m. here, meaning the Brooks Memorial Library. We'll be recording it, so people who don't live around here will be able to watch it later once it gets edited and made available on the Brattleboro TV website. Another announcement which we made before, the New England Regional Genealogy Consortium biannual conference, or is it biennial? Is it biannual or biennial? Every 2 years. Conference will be in Manchester, New Hampshire. Those dates, and the if you could just go to nergc.org, you'll be able to register. And Wayne is registered. He got the pre-registration rate, and there's how many presentations, Wayne?
There's a lot.
Huge.
It's over 3 days.
Yeah. And if you get to that nerd.org, you can look at the brochure online and see all of the presentations that are going on, and it's quite a conference. Okay, so without further ado, we'll start our presentations. You don't mind going first, Wayne?
That's fine.
Okay.
We could do that.
So we'll do Wayne first, and I'll get on, then we can have a Q&A about what we presented, and any questions you might have about your genealogical research you'd like to share. And then we've set up another meeting for Saturday, December 13th. And, we never have any topics in mind. So anybody who wants to make any suggestions, or if you would like to present on your own some genealogical topic or researching your family, Michael Bosworth has done it. he's here today remotely, so, we'd be certainly, very interested in having you, do our presentation. And it doesn't have to be, you know, fancy, doesn't have to be, PowerPoint, you can just talk if you like, maybe share some documents, but, or you could send them to us and we share them for you if you're not quite sure how to do it on Zoom. And, that would be great to have some, membership, participation. Okay, so I'll stop my share, Wayne, so you can then
Okay.
do your own.
Whoops. Sorry, thought it was at the start. Well, my apologies. I'm gonna have to figure out escaping this thing. Go back to the top. There we go. Playing again. Okay, so well, it's the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. So I came about this in a weird way. I have a classmate from college that I sometimes would trade genealogy information back and forth. And the weird thing this last time that we checked with each other, we discovered that we're actually cousins if you find a common ancestor far enough back in time. And so then I got interested in you know, how we were related and so forth. And it turned out that there were several. The family name was Merriam, and I ran across, in the process of doing that, I ran across several Revolutionary War soldiers. So then I got interested, you know, then I thought, well, I'd see what else, you know, what else I can find. So I was saying, if you can trace your ancestry back, obviously, I mean, it has to be, and particularly if it's in New England, you're looking for people, names, dates, and locations from that time period, and then from there you might be able to figure out if they somehow were connected to the revolution itself. The tricky thing is, a lot of times I've found, you know, muster rolls and so forth that there are a lot of duplicates of names. I can think of one where the family, for whatever reason, continued to name the men all the same thing. There was, you know, I found a string of like 7 Edward Ordways,
Yeah.
you know, so then you got the problem trying to figure out, well, which one might it have been? So from just looking at places to look, if you're able to trace your ancestry back that far, then to see if they are connected to the revolution itself and served in the militia or the Continental Army. There's a compiled military service records at the National Archive. And there are veterans benefit records also are held at the National Archives. It's a little tricky though, because I mean, on the plus side, the information's available. A lot of that is already digitized and it's online. But it's through either Ancestry and then Ancestry owns this website called Fold3, and both of those require subscriptions. There are some indexes on the National Archive, but really most of the information really is on Fold3 when it comes to military service. So now, the good news in terms of researching this is there are other ways to find sometimes similar records. And so we have the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Sons of the American Revolution. There are state archives and state-specific war records, historical societies and town histories, cemetery records and memorials, and even some early census records. So with that in mind, what I was interested in, well, can I find anything about this fifth great grandfather, Benjamin Blanchard, and was he a soldier in the Revolutionary War? So he was born in 1750, which is the right time period. I mean, well, it's right in the sense of, I mean, the worst time to have a son really is like 18 years before the war. So he was born really at about the right time. And he also, the other thing that struck me was that in January of 1775, he got married. And so, I mean, people today think our world is screwed up, but I just can't imagine the situation where he decided to get married, even though things must have been heating up in Massachusetts, leading up to April, where it was the battle at Lexington and Concord. So anyway, he was the right age, the right place, basically. So one of the easiest places to look is there are a lot of books are published with Revolutionary War roles. He lived in New Hampshire, so I was searching around, and this was a multi-volume set. I mean, there are 4 volumes of just the Revolutionary War in this series of New Hampshire state papers. So in there, in this particular volume, I discovered Joshua Blanchard and Benjamin Blanchard. And it gives that he served at Winter Hill in the year 1775, and he was paid £5.
Did you find this online or you physically went there?
No, this is the book is online.
It is, okay, that's.
Yeah,
Okay.
the book is online.
In
In fact, that series that I found, I found it on eBay.
okay.
You could actually go buy it if you wanted to, but it's available online.
Okay.
At archive.com.
or happy,
.org.
Yeah.
Archive.org would have
and the
these books.
Happy Trust. as
And
well.
Happy Trust.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had these are men that served in the Revolution from Wilton, New Hampshire. So I was trying to figure out, well, how can I mean, I guess there's no way to be 100% sure, but I had a lot of things. He was, like I said, he was the right age. He did have a brother named Joshua. The father lived in Andover, Mass, but owned land in Wilton, New Hampshire. And in his father's journal, he talks about that he sent his sons, that he'd set up a barn in Wilton, and he sent his sons off with 20 sheep in 1765. So he was definitely in Wilton. He was the right age, and the right place. One little interesting note is his father also deeded him some additional land, and I was struck by this line at the end of the deed. It says, "In witness whereof I have hereunto let my hand and seal this 15th day of July, 1776, in the first year of our independent states." So I don't know. It's just an interesting little thing to add to a deed. I mean, I guess technically we weren't even a country yet, but he was he was basically saying, you know, we're on our way. Oh, I also got curious, this is just a little aside. I didn't know what Winter Hill was, in terms of, where he served. And so during the Revolution, it was a fortified position after they retreated from Bunker Hill. And it enabled them to basically keep an eye on the British and contain the British in Boston. Here's the rest of the description. You know, they ran out of gunpowder, I guess, at Bunker Hill. So they retreated to Winter Hill, and then reinforced by General Israel Putnam, fortified the hill and entrenching and building batteries. And from this position, they could fire on British positions on Bunker Hill and ships in the harbor. Israel Putnam's going to be important a little bit later. So, service records. So again, I don't know it all, but most of the states published books about people, the men who served in the Revolution. So here's an example from one in Massachusetts. This was Edward Ordway. He's a fifth great grandfather for me, and he was born in Massachusetts, Haverhill, Massachusetts, died in New Hampshire. But this record indicates that he served as a private in Joseph Eaton's company of militia. And marched on the alarm of April 19th, 1775. So anyway, I mean, it's fairly, well, I guess my point is that it's fairly easy to find this information. These books are all online. And what else? Well, then, you know, the difficult part is sorting out the people with same names and maybe coming from the same place.
Where are those sourced? The information in the books? What sources do they use to compile this?
It's in the Massachusetts archive.
In the archives, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Evidently, you know, I guess you can go to Massachusetts archive and find some of the original records. I don't know if they may be online too.
Yeah, they could be
for these days.
There's just,
I don't know what else they might have digitized, but
right.
This would be the Massachusetts archive.
That's where you found that? That's where you found that record?
No, the book is
Okay.
online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy it's especially even easier than using the physical book, because you can open up the book and then you can just do a find what's in that text. Yeah. And then I mean, you can get messed up. I mean, Ordway is a name that can be misspelled half a dozen different ways. Well, so then I also found him in this genealogical and family history in the state of Vermont. And so that added some additional service. It says that he joined the expedition against Canada under Benedict Arnold in the winter of 1775 to 6. I don't know whether the author came up with this quote, but supposedly he would describe how terrible the winter was by saying that a man is hungry when he can eat his boots. So I was impressed that he could come up with that, but I don't know whether he made it up or what.
I should try a Oxford English Dictionary quotation search on it. Let's see what comes up.
Okay. So that's one source. All the various volumes of rolls of service. Now, the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution, do have an excellent website and a lot of free resources to to find out about, who might have served in the revolution.
Well, if I can just add, so it's online, but I also printed out some, there's a form called a membership interest form that you can fill out that has your name, if you think somebody else is on it, and your parents' date and birth and stuff like that, and you can submit it, and the DAR will research for you to see if they think that you might have a
Oh,
relative.
they'll do the research.
They'll do the research for
Oh,
you,
really?
yeah, which is
Okay.
kind of cool.
Do they farm it out to volunteers?
There are volunteers that do
So
it.
you guys might be involved in that or not?
We're not,
Yeah.
but, there is a whole team
There's
that.
a committee of people that
Oh, okay.
do it, but it's kind of, I can, I'll leave you some copies of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's kind of interesting
We
to
could,
see what it is that you can,
Uh-huh.
fill out, and, that's how I kind of started it, was
Uh-huh.
filling out the interest form, because I thought I had someone that might be, but and then they'll come back to you and say, can you provide this
We-
birth certificate or marriage certificate to
Yeah.
try and tie it all together?
Yeah, so we upload our presentations to a Google Drive,
Mhm.
so I could maybe put that
Yeah,
as well,
but
so people can go right there to get it.
That's kind of cool, I mean, the fact that
Okay.
they will do that for you.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you would have to do all the research.
Yeah.
No, you think,
even if you do it, they go back and do it again and.
yeah.
Yeah.
They'll come back and question you, and it's interesting, I had several, and they picked one that no one else had. They're like, we wanna add unique people in because this relative already has someone in the DAR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and if I might add, my ancestors were all Quakers, so they did not fight.
Right.
But if they served the revolution in other ways, my DAR ancestor was elected in town, at town meeting to do a job, which was basically controlling the people in church. But it served the revolution because he was elected in town meeting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, to go into this a little bit more, so it's, there's a collection of databases, which have been accumulating since 1890. It's important to note that you only get into that ancestor database if somebody has joined the DAR, so it doesn't include everybody, but it's pretty extensive, so.
I guess that's why they wanted a
And
very
if-
unique
yeah,
ancestor.
yeah,
And if you can find a new person, I'm sure
Yeah.
that that's even better. So this is what it looks like doing a search. In this case, another fourth great grandfather, who I knew was already in there. So I could use this as an example. So it's fairly simple. I mean, the basic thing, you're gonna need at least a name. Or if you know the ancestor's number, if you've already been part of it, you can just put the ancestor number in there. But the name search works well. You end up with something that looks like this. It gives a little, well, the bare facts, basically. Benjamin Byram, when he was born, when he died, and that he served in Lieutenant Enoch Hall's Corps of Rangers. It does list where he lived. Just to know, Maidstone is in northern Vermont. Cumberland County, though, no longer exists, so it's giving you the county of when he was alive, when he lived there. And it gives, he was married twice. Down below at the bottom is the start of a list of women who joined the DAR and provided a genealogy to show how they were connected back to, in this case, Benjamin Byram. I did look up the book that they referenced in there. This one is called The Roles of Soldiers in the Revolutionary War. And he is listed there with his service, which I guess was part of the documentation to become a member. Just to give you an example of what they had to submit, this Yeah, this is actually my grandmother, his application, part of her application. She had to trace her line back, and I mean, it's not a direct route. I mean, it goes to her father, and then let's see, and then through his wife to James Stanley to a Julia Byram, and then you get into the Byram family, George Washington Byram, and finally to Benjamin. I suspect there is a notice in that DAR website that you're not automatically accepted just because you can show, like I could show I'm the grandson of her. That you would have to prove it, and as you folks just mentioned, I guess somebody goes through and double checks all of the connections, birth, death, marriage records, and so on. Anyway, she did provide a little information. I'm not sure where she got it, but it does pretty much what we say here. I didn't know he was a blacksmith. That he enlisted in this Corps of Rangers, and that was raised by the state of Vermont, basically to protect the northern border.
And I think Enoch Hall is one of mine.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering about him and what the Corps of Rangers was. This is all I could come up with. I did a little Google search that it basically just says, that he commanded a group of Corps of Rangers and raised by the state of Vermont for the defense of the northern frontiers. He brought his son along, who was 12, as a drummer boy. But that's all I could come up with. I was hoping I might get more of a description about what they actually did, but
So his son would qualify as a Revolutionary War soldier?
yeah.
He was there.
He served.
He was serving at age 12. I mean, I guess maybe that's probably raises a good point. If you find somebody that you think, well, he couldn't have been old enough, well, you might want to check and see if he was a drummer or a piper. Sometimes those were just teenagers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't even a teenager.
Well, was old at that age.
So, there's probably tons of other resources on this website that we could do more on, but this one really struck me that there's they listed sources of Revolutionary War service. And they include, if you happen to be going to the DAR library in Washington, what they call call words instead of numbers. But they also provided links if they found books that were available online. So this is a page out of that PDF with some of the Vermont records. So there's some very helpful links there to take you right to either on, and if you notice, they use either archive.org or hathatrust.org, familysearch.org. These are the places where a lot of books, digitized history books, basically, are available. Well, other books as well, I guess, but I'm using it mainly for genealogy. So anyway, a pretty helpful resource, and it lists. I mean, this is very extensive. I mean, there's listings for each state and federal and so forth. So once you find a war record, it's good to see if they survived the war and lived long enough, whether they applied for a pension. And the DAR does have a pension index. So again, abstracts of thousands of pension applications, but not all. It would include the name of the person or widow, and there could be names of other people that are mentioned. The way that comes out to be useful is that you might be able to help prove an individual's service because they provided some kind of an affidavit or, support of somebody else's pension application. So anyway, in other words, what you're looking for may be a document in another person's pension application. Oh, this, so I did a search, this is another, who I knew, this is somebody I knew who had applied for a pension. Well, not him, but his wife. So, simple search box, it needs to have at least the surname, can't search otherwise. This is what the card looks like. In this case, it's a widow applying for a pension based on her husband's service. The W in front of that number, it indicates that it's a widow application. So the National Archive has the original files. And again, fold3.com has the digitized records. Heritage Quest, which we used to have here in libraries in Vermont, it's not available here, but I just throw it up there. And it's an excellent resource for finding these pension records. If by chance you find a library that has it. But anyway, it's not available here locally at this point. Just a quick look at what Fold 3 looks like. You can do a search, and here I've found Caleb Marshall. It does let you do the search for free, but to see the documents, you need to subscribe. Or you can go to one of the National Archives regional offices, and I did see some note in there that presidential libraries also have access to Fold 3.
You can bundle it with your ancestry.com.
Or you can subscribe.
And I've done that. I don't use it that much. I probably should.
Yeah, I've never, wasn't
Decouple.
aware of it.
Yeah,
His ancestry,
yeah,
inclusive with that, yeah.
I've used it before,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
when I was trying to limit
Yeah.
how many genealogy subscriptions I could have.
Does
So if it would be worth doing if you have,
Yeah.
like in the case where, let's say I was writing a book about all my Revolutionary War ancestors or something, well, it'd be a quick way to kind of search through all
Right.
those things. And you may just subscribe for a month or something.
yeah, it has other databases too, which I've used. It's they
Fold
have-
3?
Yeah, it has the Bureau of Investigation files, the BOI files, which preceded the FBI files. And I used it because there was a man from Brattleboro who was being followed by the agents at that time because of his quotes pro-German sympathies before World War I. And the reason why is because there was a librarian here in Brattleboro. Her name was Mary Shaxhoper Pratt, who was basically fired from the library in 1917 because they accused her of being pro-German as well. And it's because they found letters from Carl Hollander, which is the man's name, to his mother living in Brattleboro. They lived on Western Avenue, which mentioned Mary's name in the letter. They came to town. It's a fascinating
Really?
story. I need to write it up because they came to town and they canvassed neighbors of these people. And so she got.
Yeah, it's all on the website.
Yeah, I mean, the actual documents are there, the BOI documents, and they're quite amazing. Yeah, but anyway, that's nothing to do with Revolutionary War, but
Yeah, well, it's a good point, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Fold 3, it's not just Revolutionary War. It includes all the records that they have.
yeah,
Civil War is particularly big.
yeah, that
War of 1812, World War One.
Yeah.
No, these records from.
we probably should do it again. I think we did a session on it once, but maybe we should do one again because it really is kind of.
Well, you still have a subscription.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's just Zariah. This is her affidavit. She went to court and gave her statement about basically why she deserved a pension. And in there, well, I'm not going to read this whole thing, obviously, but they're a fascinating couple. They lived in northern Hampshire, Northumberland, or tried to settle there. In 1775, they were attacked by Indians who were, I guess, also supporting the British. So anyway, she had a 4-month-old child, a 3-year-old, and the two of them took off, went through the woods back to 170 miles back to Hampstead, New Hampshire, which I can't imagine the journey, but don't even know what there were for roads really in 1775. Anyway, fascinating couple. They rounded up basically a militia there and went back, built a fortified house, if you will, or a fort, and basically worked to defend their place and to, in this sense, to be part of the Revolutionary War. These pension files are also useful for genealogy. Just at the end there, I mean, she had to verify that she was married to Caleb, and so she gives the date of their marriage, the date that he died, and so forth. And it's a little deceptive because you say, well, we're just going to, we just want this one file. But in her case, I mean, it's over 100 pages long, this file. So there's a lot of other documentation they had to have. So kind of a little side note here, but I'm related to this Zariah Harriman, and her mother was this Meadowville Putnam, and Meadowville's brother was Israel Putnam, who was the Revolutionary War general. So you can find a lot of interconnections of things just doing the genealogy. So anyway, we're back to Israel Putnam. So I was curious, so I just tried Google, and sometimes it's just worth it to do a regular internet search, just a broad search. In this case, there's a very extensive Wikipedia page on Israel Putnam, mostly because he was a Revolutionary War general. Okay, census. The 1840 census itself only lists the heads of households. So I had not run across this before, but there was also a census of pensioners of the Revolutionary War. So it included names, ages, places of residence, and it also included if they were living with somebody, who they were living with, which you could not find in the regular 1840 census. So this is where having a genealogy software comes in handy, because I have a fairly extensive database of my family. And so I could search and find people who were born around 1855 and who are still alive in 1840. And it came up with a couple of people who fit the description. So I looked it up in this, it's a published book. And so I found a 4th great grandfather, Theodore Barker. He was 79, living in Bradford, Vermont, and it listed he was living with his son, who was also named Theodore. The other one, it should have been in the book, but he died in February of 1840, and I suspect that he's not in the book because the census was probably done later in the summer. So he almost made it. But anyway, it's.
What are the columns there besides?
Oh, sorry, they are. I didn't mean for them to. I just wanted to illustrate what the page looked like, but it's the name of the person, their age, the names of heads of the family with whom the pensioner was residing as there it is, June 1st, 1840. And so it gives the name of the county, the town, and like, for example, in this case, in the 1840 census, you would have found Theodore Barker, but it would have been his son as the head of the household, was the only one going to be listed. But with this census was just this additional census that they did, gives you information, because if you notice that, what is it, the third column over, where it says the names of the people that they're living with, almost everybody is living with somebody else, and you can pretty much guess there's probably somebody in the family.
Yeah.
So that information is one of the few ways you could find that information, because they wouldn't appear separately on the census. So anyway, that was kind of a nice find. Well, this cemetery sometimes, again, if it's, in this case, obviously you had to have descendants who thought highly of enough of you to create a huge monument. In this case, Luther Blanchard gives basically is everything about him in terms of the basic facts. In others, he was born in 1756. He was part of the Acton Minutemen militia. He died. One of the first people, I guess they consider him the first person wounded at
April 19th.
On April 19th. He was a fifer, so I guess he was making a lot of noise, and the British let it out.
Shut that down.
He was a good target. He later died of his wounds.
Yeah, 5 months later.
It's okay. Oh, sorry, I got a cramp. Anyway, well, this is just to summarize. The military records are held by the National Archives, and there's a whole variety of other things here. The Bounty Land records, Continental Congress records, judicial records. The main ones that I was interested in, only focused on here, was just the service records and the pension. But there, other resources about the revolution. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up for me.
We have a question in the chat there, by Lila. Is there any way to find out about pension paid to the widow of a Revolutionary War enlisted man, not officer, who died before the Pension Act of 1836, which extended to death benefits to families of regular enlisted men as well as officers?
Well, the widow could still apply. She would have to. She might be in that database. Just like the example I have there. So it's pretty easy.
I didn't phrase that question very well. My understanding was pensions were not given unless the soldier was an officer. That if the soldier was just a regular enlisted person, in my case, the baker to the army, there would there have been a pension, or would that pension not have been paid until later?
Well, the pensions for everybody were much later. It was like 1830 something.
Well, they had earlier ones, but I guess that's where I'm confused, because the earlier ones, I guess, were maybe just to officers.
Yeah,
So
I don't. They should. I mean, most of the ones I've found, I don't have many ancestors who were officers, so most of the ones that got pensions were, they were privates for the most part. I'm not sure I'm understanding what, did the person die before the Pension Act was passed?
Well, that's what I'm trying. He died before the 1836 Act was passed. Um, but there were previous, there was, I guess, an Act of 1818 and an Act of 1820 when he would not have been alive then. Okay, so maybe that was the problem. Sorry, maybe I'm confusing myself.
Yeah.
No, his widow should have still been able to apply.
Well, this is what I'm trying to use pension records to track down because he had a second wife and it seems like he may not have divorced his first wife. And I'm trying to clarify
Oh.
that by figuring out maybe who got the benefits.
Yeah, Lynn says, was he Continental Army or state militia?
He was Army of the Observation. He was the baker to the Army of Observation. So
So that's the Continental Army then.
Continental Army.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, it would be worth searching, doing a search on fold 3.
I would
Um,
search with Nara first and see if this is Lynn, sorry. Check on Nara and see if he has a record in there. It's a super easy search and he should if there's something in there, even if it wasn't approved, there should be documentation. I know for one of mine that I was looking up, he was state militia and it was 1832, I believe, where they dropped the amount of time needed and allowed state militias to participate. But if he was Continental Army, then it would have been when the enlisted folk were authorized pensions. But he could still have a pension record in there if there was an application put in. So,
Okay.
and I did want to mention also that NARA has been working with the Park Service in preparation for the 250th to digitize and to transcribe all of the pension records. And so they have done a ton of work in the actual pension records. They worked with, I believe it was Family Search, to train their AI to transcribe. And so most of the records now have an automated, machine transcription done, and then you can go in and edit that to the specifics to that person. And I found that to be super, super helpful, and I learned a lot.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very good information. Wow.
Yeah, the Family Search AI really does an excellent job. I mean, it can't do a perfect transcription, but because it's hard to read to start with. But the fact that you can do a search now and have the document on one side and the transcription on the other side, and the names are all highlighted for you.
Can I ask another question? The what's a good source for discharge dates? Because I guess that there weren't really formal discharge papers then, right? So if I'm trying to figure out when he left the Army, what's the best way to do that?
Well, any of those books that I referenced list their service dates. I think, I don't know if I can pull. Another, it'll list their period of service. I mean, the tricky thing is that some of them enlisted for a short period of time with one commander,
Yeah.
And then enlisted in another, with I still don't have a good sense of how it seems that once they decided to form a militia, somebody formed it and was the person in charge of it,
the leader.
as part of a larger regiment, probably. But so there could be multiple services, I guess, is what I'm getting at. In other words, they might have served under one person, then served under somebody else.
Would be interesting to search fold 3 to see.
I mean, that example that I gave with the widow's pension, she listed in there who he served with, but there were problems with it. In other words, it was a very extensive application, but I don't think she ever got a pension. Even though from everything I read in there, it seemed like they, they were heavily involved in basically defending the northern border.
Right.
So even if they didn't get a pension, there's a pension application on file.
Right.
One thing that also is useful is look at the muster rolls. If he was not state militia, there should be like enlistment and discharge. With the muster rolls, not the muster rolls, it was it might be muster rolls. I can't remember the name of the form, but for state militia, they didn't have a formal enlistment process that was on paper. I found a lot of information in the affidavits that were done after the, I believe, 1832 Pension Act, where everybody had to go and say, this is where I served and this is who I served under. And they gave pretty good dates on all of those. But there's not necessarily state documentation, at least for Massachusetts, to prove all of that ahead of time. Continental Army, they had pretty good records, but state militias did not. So I don't know if that would help your the particular in that particular case, but in general, there's I found a surprisingly large amount of detail in the affidavits for my Revolutionary War veteran, and then also going to look at the records where my veteran provided a deposition about the other person's service, because you can get a little more detail there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Would you mind putting up your presentation again?
Oh,
I wanted to look at one of those slides where you, it was at the DAR website. Where,
BAR?
yeah, it was, there was it might be that one right there. I think you just went by it. Yeah, this one may be that one. I don't know. That looks like no, right down there, because it was a picture of it was an image of the DAR website.
Oh, no, it's further back. Let's see, what did I do?
No, I think it
No,
was,
it was down.
I think it was more, yeah. They'll be distinctive like that. I don't know if that's that one maybe. Yeah, one of those two. Okay, wasn't that one, maybe one before that? Like, yeah, one more up. Okay, no, keep going down then.
This is with a search.
Yeah, shoot.
What are you looking for?
Oh, well, there were just some interesting links on the right side, and one of them was Patriots of Color.
Oh, that's probably this one here.
Yeah, the DAR is making an effort to.
Yeah.
People.
Sounds like it, yeah, I mean, and
They did not have to actually fight, but if they
Right.
served as a nurse
yeah,
or in general, did community service, then they are eligible.
where did you, maybe it's that one. Oh, there, I bet it's that one.
Here?
Yeah. So
Oh,
they're
there we
Patriots
go.
of Color. It would be interesting to see how many of those people got pensions. You know, it would be just in the ratio between, anyway, that's another,
Question about pensions, was that a one-time thing, or did they,
No.
like today, you get a pension every month?
Yeah,
Right, no,
Was it a one-time payment?
yeah,
no, they would get paid.
monthly, yeah,
Monthly, I
they
guess.
get a monthly check.
But then also they sometimes got land instead of a pension.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I
Is it
really don't
boundary
get
land?
into that,
But
but
that's-
some of them could, those are the bounded land,
yeah.
Right,
yeah. I was using examples that I knew about.
right,
Yeah,
but they
Um,
didn't.
But these are interesting, you know,
Um,
you got the Forgotten Patriots Research Guide
Uh-huh.
and Revolutionary War Grave Marker Index.
Okay,
I just found this interesting, yeah, we'll have the links.
Well, I mean, the cemetery thing is interesting too. The
find a grave,
Find a grave.
Find a grave.
Yeah.
yeah.
is excellent. The other thing that if you go to a cemetery looking for it, especially if you go like on the 4th of July and there's an active American Legion group or some
Yeah.
veterans group, well, they'll put flags around every grave. So it makes it pretty easy to identify where you want to look.
Yeah. They have their markers as well, you know.
Of course, sometimes you have to find a cemetery that's down behind somebody's house with the cul-de-sac or whatever,
Yeah,
you know, because
Family cemeteries.
there are cemeteries.
I have one that I was interested in trying to find, and I couldn't even find where the cemetery was. I mean,
Oh,
off in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
I think.
down this path next to the house, you know, past the maple tree, you know, we found my husband's in Kentucky, down at the end of a
Yeah.
development. There it was, up on the hill.
Oh, yeah, that was while you were talking. I looked up Winter Hill
Yeah,
on Google Maps. It's just like all, you know, it's like a development. It's in Somerville, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
but you can still find it, you know. It's labeled Winter Hill.
but yeah, that makes sense that there would be.
Yeah.
For those Revolutionary War patriots who are buried in Vermont, in 1925, there was a big effort by the Brattleboro DAR or chapter that I think might have been part of a larger effort to put veterans' headstones up at Vermont cemeteries or other cemeteries. I only know about the Brattleboro ones because my ancestor's stone was part of that effort. So when you see Revolutionary War veteran headstones out, that was part of the DAR's effort to work with communities to recognize where Revolutionary War veterans were buried. There's also a small book in existence, and it is also available online. Or I believe a lot of the information is also listed in old newspaper articles about Revolutionary War veterans buried in Vermont and where like what towns they're buried in. So for Vermont descendants, that's also a good research start point if you're looking for the actual physical cemetery and it is not already listed on, Find a Grave or another site.
Oh,
I spent a lot of time with this, so I was excited to come today, at least virtually, because I spent a ton of time in all of these things this summer. Our family celebrated our centennial reunion, and it started in 1925 at the dedication of my Revolutionary War ancestors' headstone that the DIR had put effort into have placed out in Stratton.
What's his name?
Abel Grout.
Oh, the Grouts?
Oh yes.
The Grouts of Brattleboro. That's a big name here.
Yep. He and I'm partway through figuring out exactly where his house was. So at one point they lived on Ames Hill, but he is listed uh, in the Annals of Brattleboro, I think the book is.
Yes,
He's noted there as well. And
Oh.
he's on. Yeah, so too many projects, not enough time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great. Okay, are we ready for the Vermont Historical Society website?
ready to
Okay.
move on.
Can I just share
Oh,
some
go ahead. Go ahead, Mary.
my ancestors? My ancestors are from the Groton, Shirley, Massachusetts area. And as you said, you often find the same name going on in the family. But I did find my fourth great-grandfather, whose name was Phineas. He was from Shirley, and he responded to the resolve of June 5th, 1780 for 6 months. And it gave his age, which was 16, said he was 5'6" and a light complexion, which was interesting to see. The name Philemon is also very common, and there is a Philemon from Shirley who was a fifer. I haven't figured out how he might be related. And he shows up in several different periods as a fifer, a musician, and again as a fifer. So I had also a fourth great granduncle named Lemuel, who you could see getting, traveling expenses, and he was in something called Bullard's Regiment. So I'm sure there's a lot of them if I have time to research. And I subscribe to Ancestry, so this information came from the Massachusetts soldiers and sailors that you mentioned. So.
Right?
Wow, we have somebody from South Texas attending today. That's a first.
Yeah.
Welcome. Okay, well, let me,
Can I, I'm
sure,
just
go
gonna add
ahead,
one thing,
please,
it's sort of
continue, yeah.
tying in with everything, but the Ira, Allen.
Yes.
So next Sunday, the Wardsboro Curtain Club, with conjunction with the Wardsboro Library, will be showing the movie Lost Nation
Oh,
at the
wow.
Wardsboro Town Hall with a reception later at the
Is
library.
Jay gonna be there? Jay?
He is, he's going to be there for a Q&A, so if anybody's local and interested, they'll be showing it there.
Okay, good, I'll try to remember that in the introduction, for, Kevin Graffinino on
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Mhm.
to remember to do
And,
that.
and the book club is
Yeah, it's a
reading
50-50
Mr.
chance I'll
Prince,
remember, but.
who, if you've read Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
Prince, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so-
Gretchen Holzbrook,
Yeah.
Christina was, actually, she spoke here on that book some
Yeah,
years
so
ago.
that's our book club.
Yeah, that's a real fascinating story.
It
for
is,
sure.
it is.
Yeah. Okay, let's, do the, Vermont Historical Society. Okay, so we talk about, and I was thinking of ways to describe the portal, and for some reason splendiferous came up in my mind. I'm not sure what it means, but it seems to be a good thing. So, at any rate, the Historical Society, which is located in two places, Barre and Montpelier, but chartered in 1838. It's a private historical society, as you know, most of them are. And it contains over 30,000 items in their collections, which includes museum objects, but a lot of documents and archival material that most historical societies house. And it's, you know, it's membership, a membership-based organization. So you pay something if you want to get free access to the museums and so forth. But there's a lot that is many of the 30,000 items you can access yourself through the portal. And so we'll take a look at some of them. Okay, so of course, this is the landing page once you go there, but that'll change obviously from time to time. But we'll be looking at some of the menu items above that. But this is their annual meetings October 16th, and Jeffrey Amistoy, the former Supreme Court Chief Justice, will be talking about his book, which is interesting. I haven't read it or anything, but it's when Clarence Darrow came to Vermont. And I think it'll be an interesting talk. I think you need to be a member to attend, but it's October 16th is when we'll be doing it. But anyway, so we're going to look at some of these items, not everything, obviously, and I'm sorry that's maybe not as large as they should be, but we're going to check out the History Center and Library, but mainly the library, which is called the Leahy Library. And there'll be sort of a jumping off site from there. We'll look at their digital resources page, their genealogy list and indexes. Freedom and Unity is Online, which is the book that was written in 2004 that sort of updates Vermont history. It was 8 years in its production. But it's about this thick. But it does have a section on Revolutionary War Vermont, which gives you some context and so forth. So we'll take a look at that. There's a page called Genealogy Research Resources, a little bit different from the list and indexes that we'll look at, and manuscripts, as well as we'll do a search in the library catalog to see what you can come up with. But anyway, it's a multi-layered and complex website, so forgive me if I lose you because I may get lost myself, but at any rate, we'll see what we can do. Okay, so the Howard and Alba Leahy Library, and we'll look at these four things, which are the digital resources page, genealogy research resources, manuscripts, and online catalog. We'll look at those a little bit more in depth. And this is a good place to go back to if you start to get lost, because then you can jump off from this place as well. But so at any rate, the digital resources and genealogy lists page will give you a lot more links on the left side. And this will be a good one to just check out to see what they have as part of their genealogy list. And let's see what happens if I might have to reshare, but let's see if it, yeah, this is what's going to happen. So I'll need to. Let's see which one I want here. This one, I think. Okay, so this will give you, I wonder if I can make this a bit larger. Okay. So this is the particular genealogy list and indexes page. And below here, you get all these related pages too. This is what I mean. It can get kind of confusing when you're trying to, navigate for a specific thing. But if you're just kind of browsing, it's really fun to kind of look at. But these are some of their lists that they've actually transcribed. So you can find some early town records here. Here they have early marriages, 1789. So if we were to click on that, it should bring us to a little description of what this particular document provides. And then this is like the marriages in Montpelier, Burlington, Berlin, and it's actually a PDF of their of that resource. You can actually get to the resource without having to go any further. So that's an interesting one. So let's if we go back to my PowerPoint and do another share here. Okay, so the next thing, okay, this is another page called genealogy resources page. And they've transcribed some of their unique genealogical materials, and which are also listed on the online catalog, which we'll get to. But it's also another way to access their genealogical information. So if we go back there and do another share. Share, okay. And here we go with the resources, and it gives you a little bit of a broad description of what is available. And what's kind of interesting, they've transcribed some of these materials as well. And again, another place where you can use as a launch pad, and also the related pages here. So it's good to go, and you can always go back to the library with that link as well. And we'll talk about the Ask a Librarian as well when we get to the catalog. So let's see what we got now. Let's see.
So they have some of those. That's a family register there as an illustration.
Yeah. So that's
So
that's something that you could, they probably have done,
is that what you mean by they've digitized some of
yes, right,
that material?
right, right. I mean, they're unique stuff here. let's see, let me see if I did that, yeah. Yeah, that brought me back to the other one. I think what I was gonna do here is then do some, another, let's see, let me go back to my presentation here.
I'm gonna actually sneak out. I have
Yeah.
things to do,
Okay.
and unfortunately don't have any Vermont relatives. They all ended up in Maine. So, or New York.
As I have a parking meter issue,
Oh,
it's
yeah, me
probably
too.
easier if I leave at the same time.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It'll be on mine too.
Okay,
if you don't
that's
go back
great.
to it. But, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Lovely
Yeah.
meeting you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice meeting you too. Okay. At any rate, well, I think I'll be able to demonstrate that, in a little bit further on, so.
Well, the only reason
No, it's a good question.
different, it's different
Yeah.
from, birth, death, marriage records, if
Right.
there are things like those family registers.
Right, exactly, yeah, or no personal, so here is, where we wanted to go, yeah. So this is, as I said, they have manuscripts that they have transcribed, as well as ones that are listed in the in the catalog. And, let's see if we can get that as well. Yeah, the manuscript transcriptions. So here's a manuscript transcription, and here are some that they've done. There's more in the catalog that they haven't, but you can request those and we'll show you. So here's some diaries from 1830. This one looks interesting because it's kind of local to us. Like Guilford Farmers Reminiscence of Military Service, 1776.
Oh, right.
Vermont and Canada, and some of these other things. So again, he wrote it in 1826. So once you do it, brings up the
Transcription.
yeah, transcription. So
Yeah.
that makes it kind of an interesting one too.
Yeah, if you could connect yourself to that.
Yeah,
person.
exactly. You can
Yeah,
connect
got
yourself.
a great,
And then some other ones too, but, okay, so let's see what we have here. That was a transcription. Okay. So I think, I will then, I would think, I will then skip to the catalog, because that really kind of is the meat of finding genealogical information in at the Historical Society, so anyway. Okay, so we could just start with a simple search and go from there. So if we do genealogy, and let's see if I can get this at the larger resolution so we can see it better. Okay. So if you just search under genealogy, it will bring you to over 5,000 unique records. Okay. And there's a lot of books, genealogical books and so forth. But what I find interesting is when you get a big database like that, is to winnow it down. And you can do that by year, but I don't find that so helpful in this particular case. But you can select formats, locations, but in the collections area, I mean, they got a bumper sticker. I'm kind of curious what that's about. But
Must be a
anyway.
good one. There's only one there.
It's only one day, right? But what's interesting, I thought I would look at some of the manuscripts. So he chose manuscripts and you have to go back up here and then do the search over again. You'll get these manuscripts that are genealogically connected, but with you know, family papers and that kind of thing. So this is in a location called the Manuscript Vault. And so these have not been digitized. So this is stuff that, you know, and there are 621 of them. So I did this like another search here, and I thought that I would show this to Wayne. So I did just genealogy Blanchard and come up with it, and kind of interesting. There are 4 records. So you recognize any of these?
Not yet. I'd have to go in and look.
Yeah. Well, look at one of them. So this is Heartland. There's 13 folders there. This one has 2 linear feet going back to 1639. And this one is 2 folders. But then if you click on this here, it gives you a really nice scope note. And there's a bunch of other names here. You recognize any of that?
Seth Blanchard, I think he died in the Civil War.
Okay. Yeah, it was at 1864. it looks like, yeah.
1864.
And they have a finding aid, so I'm not sure if that's, I mean, that's another thing, but there was one of these, maybe it wasn't this one. There was a Rockingham.
Really?
Yeah, so there's the doc number, you know, and it's a manuscript. Let me go back for a second. It might have been the first one here. It might have been on this one. Yeah, it's Rockingham. Inserted correspondence to William H. Blanchard from 1914 to 1970. 1889, recorded in 9 manuscript books and pamphlets. But so they indexed it under, you know, they have a Rockingham, Vermont connection here. So anyway, I thought that was.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, yeah. So let's just say you want to let's say, you know, have them photocopy something from here.
Oh, so this is like an index, and so the actual documents are not there.
Yeah, no, not in this particular case.
I
This
mean,
is
they're
just a
in
catalog
their
entry.
catalog.
Yeah.
But
But you can, you know, you can print it out, you can print the record, copy the link. You copy the link there, you could probably do a Command C and copy it. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I probably. And then here, you can either go to Ask Librarian if you had a general question about it, you know, they can maybe describe it a little bit more. Or if you felt like you knew what you wanted, you'd order scans. And they will, you know, or drive up there, but this is a way of getting access to the information with, and it might, okay. Take a look at that, Chip. Yeah, let's see what that means. I'm not sure. So it gives you the pricing, tells you first 10 pages, images, $10. So it can get a little expensive, but maybe worth your time, you know. And I think if you're a member, it's a little bit cheaper and so forth. And anyway,
yeah, I don't think I'd want to request 2 linear feet of
probably not until you maybe.
archive
I think-
pages.
But the Ask Librarian, they might, you know, you tell them what you wanted, maybe they give you a call and you could find out what you really needed and then, you know.
Narrow
just
it down.
outline, yeah. So anyway, it's a, you know, it's where I think you can really find stuff. Now, the other thing I just wanted to show real quick was let's see if I can get to it from here. Was the Vermont History database. So it's the Vermont History Journal. And so they've been publishing this journal for a very long time. And 1930 on, and from 1988 to 2002, they've made them available online. So you can actually do a search of the journals. So if you just type, you know, something, I'll do this because I got something else. So it'll do a Google search of their, basically their tables of contents, and these are all linked to, you know, various topics in the journals. So this person here was a spiritualist who lived in Vermont, and you know, was part of the original spiritualist movement that got its legs with the women in New York who thought they had, you know, discovered a ghost in their house. What are their names? I can't remember now. I should know, remember that. Anyway, so that really got going, and that got me interested in doing something. I was when I was taking my genealogy course through Boston University, we had to go into an archive and look at a non-digitized document. So I went to the Historical Society here and I was looking through things, and I found a collection of letters written to a man in Brattleboro. His name was Edward Edwards in 1889. And they were letters from the afterlife from his two wives and a brother and a niece. And they were written through three mediums. So it was the most, I was going, what? So I decided that I would write something up on it and see if somebody, you know, if they would be interested. And the actually the Historical Society said, yeah, we'll do that. So it's the Spirituals in Brattleboro, 1886-89, one man's contact with the afterlife through letters. And it's the most remarkable thing that these three mediums, you know, and I tried to identify who the mediums were to see if they were local, but I think they came from Montague, Massachusetts, where it's a big spiritualist community even to this day, you know. But at any rate, the letters are incredible. They like the two, so one wife died, the other, then he got remarried, and both of them say, well, one of us will meet you at the gates when you die, but we're not sure which one.
Oh, no.
And he's probably carrying out his, you know, oh my God, you know, and and they're all, I mean, that's what they look like. They're handwritten, you know, letters. And so I digitized them.
So he's like, he recorded what?
Well, the you know, the mediums are sitting in a seance, and they're channeling these, you know, the words from the spirits, and they're writing them down, and then they send them to him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, so anyway, it was just a fun exercise, and I digitized them all, so I have them, you know, but I just reprinted, and it was for the Historical Society because they had a column called In Their Words, so they would print diaries and letters.
Oh.
So I think I had the first time they were letters from the afterlife.
Okay.
He's buried, Edward is buried in Keene.
Oh.
He wasn't buried here. He had a family there, but
Uh-huh.
at any rate, it was kind of a fun exercise, and I learned.
So that journal, you said it's, some of the past issues are all searchable.
From 2000 on, you can, you don't need to be a member of the Historical Society to do it. So you could, you know, I did a search just under genealogy, and what usually comes up is their book section, and they have local history books, and they have genealogy books related to Vermont.
Okay.
So that's kind of helpful if you were kind of, you know, you're interested in looking at that. So or finding out what some of the new books are. At any rate, that's it, short and sweet, and happy to Oh, wait, Chip, you had a question. I just killed the thing. What was it again, Chip, your question?
On your catalog search page, it gave you your hit list, and then below was a percentage listed, 100%, 70%, 63%,
I
and it
see what you
wasn't
mean.
clear what that meant.
Yeah, good question. I am not sure unless it has some, so it's sorted by relevancy.
How
So,
relevant they think that.
maybe how
Ah,
relevant they,
okay.
maybe some algorithm that they do, so see, it's relevancy.
Yep.
Relevance
Okay.
ranking. And that must be it. So these floated to the top. And I mean, I don't know, here's the, maybe because of the this is 2 folders, 2 linear feet. This is only 1 folder, I don't know. So this is Blanchard Family Collection. What is it, 1989 to 1993. You should put your stuff there. Give them your,
I
probably
don't,
have a
I don't
lot.
have, well, I don't have too many in Vermont.
Oh,
There's a
that's true.
few
Yeah,
branches I'm connected to.
right.
Can you
Yeah.
click on those percentages? Is that a link?
Doesn't click.
No,
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
no,
It's some icon that
no.
they use, but, so you can do it, you can do it by,
Maybe they think how relevant they think that is to your search.
right, yeah, but they all have Blanchard in it, so I don't know. So this would be like, author. And, oh yeah, see, look at the relevancy went way down because it's just by author.
Oh, I see.
Now here's one, 90%. This person was a compiler. Isla Blow Blanchard. Isla Blow Blanchard. 2
But-
linear feet.
But he's one of the authors.
Yeah.
Weston Blanchard.
Oh, right. So this is a compiler. So this is the author here, Weston. Oh, yeah, that's the 2 linear feet one that we did. Yeah. Now here's Seth, but that's on the as a subject heading probably. All right. So let's see. Any other questions?
Not on today. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if we had an update on our graveyard detective
Oh.
story from last time.
Not really. We'll have to talk with the woman who came down. Yeah, no, there's no update there for sure.
That's right.
I talked to the pro at the country club and he kind of just shakes his head. He says, well, you would think.
There would be some record there.
Right. I did go up to the planning department in the town. And because they had to have some sort of, development hearing of some sort. And he gave me a copy of the people who did the septic system. Now, one would think if they're digging around underground for a septic system, they would have found something. So I do have his name, so I might give him a call. I sent it up to, I don't remember her name, but at any rate, she was here.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, any rate. Yeah, but that's an interesting, they'll have to do an update.
Thank you.
Now, thanks for coming. Okay, here, let's see, I'll stop the share.
Was there another question?
I don't think so.
I was just
I think-
going to say this is just an amazing resource, and thank you for walking through it. I'm really excited to use it.
Oh, great, well, thanks for sticking with me on that, and Wayne, I hope you come next time as well, or you can even, do you live in Putney, Lila?
I do, and actually, I guess I do have a question maybe for everyone on this call. I'm new to Vermont, but I discovered this, my 5th great grandfather ended up spending the last 7 years of his life in Guilford, and I ended up spending the later part of my life now in Putney. So I've gotten interested in him, but he seems very elusive. I think he was trying to live below the radar, and I'm really struggling to find information on him. And so I'm really interested in where you folks would suggest I turn for information specifically around the Guilford area. Going
Have
back
you,
to, he came, I think, in about 1793 or 4 or 5, and he died in Guilford in 1802, but I can't find any information where he's buried. I think he was buried on the family farm or somewhere around.
the first thing that comes to mind is the official history of the town of Guilford. Have you seen that book?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, the Putney Library might have it, and the Brooks Library does.
Okay.
You know, that might be a first step. There would be,
Should be in the 1800 census.
1800 census.
But he came
right?
after 1790. I'm
And-
gonna say there's the, well, I guess he wouldn't be in. There's the Vermont Historical Society has a couple volumes of
Yeah,
related to the 1790 census.
right.
He might be in town, like town tax records or something like that.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't seem,
Grand list.
yeah, he doesn't seem to be showing up under his name. His second wife's last name was Yaw, and I'm finding she spelled it Yeaw, but I guess others in her family spelled it Yaw. And I'm finding records related to her and her first husband, whose last name was Gallup, and her parents, whose last name was Franklin. So I'm finding Franklin and Gallup and Yaw information around there. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe he just sort of slipped in and was living with them or on their property unofficially. And yet he was starting a family with this second wife. So I'm, but I'll
Well,
try. Yeah.
yeah, there are land records too. So if he owned land,
Yeah. I
those would be available as well.
I went to
Um,
the Guilford Town Hall and I looked at the
oh,
land
okay.
records
Oh, you did, okay.
and didn't find anything under his name, but I found things under his wife's
Uh,
first husband's name. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe she continued living there after her first husband died and he just sort of ended up living there too. I don't know.
did you find where she was buried?
She left after
Oh,
he died. She took the children and they moved to Cleveland. No, they
uh,
moved to New York State.
New York State, yeah. Yeah, it's one of
If
those,
she,
mysteries. I
Well,
I was
yeah,
gonna suggest going to the town clerk and looking, because been there.
Okay.
So he died in 1802, and when was he born, you thought?
1754. He lived, well, he had a
He was
really,
at a Revolutionary War.
I have a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
information on his family and his early years, but he disappears at a couple points. And the family history, which was written around 1900, and actually it looks like you folks have a copy on your stacks. I just searched for his name and that popped up on the history website. But it looks like he faked his death in 1792 or 3 and disappeared and ended up here, um, and then remarried because the first family, which I'm descended from, thought he died at sea. He was he was from Newport, Rhode Island, it and was involved in shipping, and so that would have been logical. Apparently, he was on a ship. He didn't return. And so the family history was written as if, well, he disappeared and we didn't learn for 100 years until some ancestor found out that he actually ended up in Guilford, Vermont with another family. And I'm trying to figure out what happened in those years.
Another tack might be looking at the town records of select board meetings and that sort of thing. Because he might have just Lynn says town meeting records easy to read on Family Search.
Oh, okay.
Person, yeah, so you can find those as well, using Family Search. But at any rate, maybe paging through some of those town records themselves, might have appeared in a, select board minutes or something.
I-
What
I
else?
did find a reference to him in a Brattleboro newspaper.
I was just gonna say
Okay,
newspapers would be the
yeah,
next
me
thing I
too.
would look.
Well, I tried. I subscribed to newspapers.com, but the years are kind of spotty around then. I guess the Brattleboro paper or whatever paper was serving operated for a while and then didn't, and then so
Yeah, it's like the Federal Galaxy. Was one of
yeah. I
the-
did find this obscure reference to him. He was a horseman and a horse trainer, and I found a reference to a stallion that was available for stud services in Brattleboro, and he was under the care of this ancestor of mine,
Wow.
the horseman. But it didn't say anything about how you could contact it. It just said contact him if you want the stud services, and it didn't say how to contact him.
Well, maybe going through the Horse Association. Maybe there's an archive.
Well, the other
Was
thing I
there
was
one?
thinking of is the news, there's a lot of different newspaper sites.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to try to, if he lived in like Newport, Rhode Island, see what if there's anything in their papers.
Right.
Sometimes if you go to the a library website, sometimes they have access to the papers in that area.
Right.
There's actually a lot right up until the time when he supposedly died the first time.
No.
When he
Oh,
disappeared.
when he died.
There's a
I
lot
was
up till then. Yeah.
I was thinking because you're concerned about, that he maybe left under unusual circumstances, that there might be something written up in the Providence paper or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
they-
Those early,
The
those early
Vermont
papers.
Phoenix is a good newspaper besides the Reformer. The Vermont
I'm sorry,
Phoenix,
what's that?
It's not that early though.
the
Yeah,
Vermont
it
Phoenix,
was
about 1836, I think, maybe.
Oh, that's too late.
Too late. Okay.
And
I
I
mean,
also
look-
couldn't find marriage records. They refer to him as having married this Mary Yaw, the widow.
Yeah.
But I can't find marriage records.
That would be possibly in the, like the town records book. They'll be talking about roads and they might have like 3 pages of marriages and births and that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
it's
sometimes
worth-
they're all mixed in together
they're mixed in together.
in those
exactly.
early ledger.
Right, I
Okay.
would go back over those records and look at, just start to read through them during that time period.
The other thing I was thinking, Chronicling America on the Library of Congress website has sent a lot of early newspapers.
That again? To what
They're long shot, but maybe just
Yeah.
searching on his
Have
name.
you been to the Guilford Historical Society?
When is it open?
Probably in the summer.
I have a little trouble connecting with when it's open.
Oh, okay, wow, that's too bad, huh?
You could probably
mean,
just call them and ask to make an appointment with them.
Maybe
you're
I'll
in-
do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
a
think
good
that's the
idea.
way to do it. They must have their trustees, they have a website, I think, don't they?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
they don't.
Right? I mean, I know they're active, maybe, not so much anymore. Actually, the Vermont Historical Society, works with the local historical societies, with advising and consulting with them, so, you might be able to go through VHS to get to them, but,
Okay.
Well,
Well, I don't mean to sort of divert the conversation here.
No.
You all have been
Yeah.
doing local research and I haven't, so I'm hoping to benefit
No,
from
That's a
hearing.
good place to ask questions, that's, why we,
You do have kind of a tricky one there. If he was
Yeah, you really
he was
do.
only here for a relatively short time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, they do have a.
and if
they
he
do
was
have
hiding under the radar by
Right,
living in his second wife's house or something,
Yeah.
his name might not appear.
yeah, exactly, so, yeah, they do have a website.
Well, that was a good suggestion to just give them a call. I'll do that and
Yeah,
see what I can learn.
yeah, let's see, contact us.
Well, they have a way to leave a message on their website.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, about us, let's see. Here's the board, here are the boards, okay. Yeah. Google one of these guys to see if you get their phone number. Yeah, they're the executive officers, so I don't know any of them, I think. Aaron Kachuk, I might, Scott Knickerbocker.
If
Yeah.
you like to chat offline about it, Jerry's got my email and it's fine to share. I would just rather
Okay.
not have it on the recorded Zoom. And I'm happy to brainstorm ideas if that's helpful, because this is the kind of puzzle that I love.
I would love to talk with you. That would be
Sure.
wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Sure. Gary, if you're
Okay,
okay
so
with being the handoff of info, that would be excellent.
yeah, I'll connect you two.
Thank you
with,
All
so
right. Thanks so
much.
much.
Okay, great. Okay,
We're pretty much out of time.
I think we're out of time. Thank you all for coming. Nobody noticed that I wore a shirt that matches the chairs in the room.
Yes, we did.
That wasn't intentional, but.
I did not notice that either.
I'm looking at this, my
You
God.
blend right in with all those chairs behind you. Behind you.
Well. Okay,
Thank you,
folks,
everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
and we'll put this up on our YouTube page, so you can, if you want to review it, and a link to the documents as well, the PowerPoint presentations. Okay.
Thanks for putting those together. Definitely interesting and informative. So, and I will say I very much appreciate being able to join from Maryland. The challenges of working on Vermont genealogy from, this many miles away is sometimes extra fun.
Did you find us through the Conference Keeper app or website?
No, I think through the Historical Society. I don't remember at this
Oh, okay.
point. Probably through the Historical Society if something was posted, or just general Brattleboro things. I'm on a bunch of groups. And then also, your name is familiar from the Boston University group as well.
Oh,
So,
okay.
because I think
All
we
right.
discovered we were in the same class session for that.
Oh, all right. That's right. We did have a
Yeah.
conversation about that.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks so much for putting all this together. It's been great.
Okay, well, thank you. Hope to see you in December 13th is our plan.
It's on the calendar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, people. Goodbye.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye now.